Hello, everybody. So we are doing the last part of 1.1e, which are notes over linear and exponential models. But we're also going to talk about quadratic because that's what we talked about in our patterns. But we're going to talk about using TI-84 and Desmos. On 1.1e table patterns, we talked about how to determine whether it's a good model by using our own brain, right? Our tables, finding the difference and finding the ratios. Yes? Do you remember doing that? Yeah? Okay. They're right next to each other. So in case you don't remember, look at page 14 as to what I'm talking about. Okay? So we're going to talk about, you're going to split your, I don't know if you really want to do it in half. I mean, you can split it vertically in half, but one side's going to be TI-84, one side's going to be Desmos, or you can just write it in the rows, but just make sure you're not taking up the entire part for TI-84 because you need room for your. You're writing it in your notebook on page 15. Yes. Okay. All right. So if I was you, I would split the page in half vertically, but that's because that's how I write. But however you choose, it's up to you. So TI-84, we're going to be looking at regressions for quadratics and exponentials. Okay. No, not yet. I don't have time to put them in this morning. So we're going to look at regressions for quadratics and exponentials. The past week and a half, we've only been using what? Calculator to find what kind of regression models, though? Linear. We've only been looking at linear, right? We agree? Okay. Now we're going to be looking at our exponentials and quadratics. Okay. So we're going to, you don't have to write this part down just so that I can tell you. We're going to be using our table pattern notes to look just for tables. So the values that we're going to be using, so I won't have to recreate tables again. We're just going to use examples 1 and example 2 on your table pattern notes. So when I'm putting stuff into the calculator, you're like, where is this coming from? It's coming from here. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Now, everything else up until now, we've been doing TI-84. You're going to still do your stat edit, input your data, but we're going to change some settings before we start. Does that make sense? So these are the setting changes that we're going to make. In order to make these setting changes, we're going to press mode. Once we press mode, we're going to change from float to 3. So we're going to change our float to 3. And we're going to take our stat diagnostics and turn it on. So those are the 2 changes that we have to make before we do everything else normal. Okay. Are we good? Well, just yet. What are y'all writing? Okay. Bless you, bless you, bless you. All right, so when we go to stat calc, that's where we see our regression models. And the 3 that, remember this window? Yes, we agree. The 3 that we're focused on are linear, quadratic, and exponential, but for some reason my board isn't showing exponential. I don't know why. Like my board's been shifted. You see, like it's been shifted down. I don't know how or why. I did put it. I don't know why you don't see it. All right, anyways, we need 0 for exponential regression, the one at the bottom. I'll figure that part out in a second. All right, so we're going to do some examples with these. We're going to use example 1 on your 1.1e table patterns as the table we're going to input and practice with. Okay, are we cool? Okay, so I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to the screen, show taskbar. I'm going to open Sylvie. Before I get started with Sylvie, what do I need to do? Reset. And how do I reset Sylvie? Second plus 712. Second plus 712. Second plus 712.
Done.
Huh?
It's done.
Oh, okay, good job. All right, so now I've reset I'm going to go ahead and do these steps for changing my settings. So it says to press mode, and I'm going to go to float, and I'm just going to switch from float to 3. Do we see that? I'm going to press enter to save that change. And then it says I need to go down to stat diagnostics, and I'm going to turn them on. So I'm going to go down to stat diagnostics. And I'm going to turn them on. Are we good with changing those settings? It's at the bottom. See it? Yeah. All right. Now we're going to go through just like normal. We're going to go to stat and go to edit, and we're going to input our values. Again, the values we're using are example 1 on your table pattern notes. So if you are wondering where I'm getting these numbers from, that's where they're coming from. Yes. If you were absent, remember you check the file cabinet for the day you were absent for the work we did. We're doing table 1 on our pattern. 0, 3, 12, 27, 48, 75. Okay, we're going to pretend that we don't know the equation for this, right? And we're going to test out to see which model best represents it. Is it a linear, quadratic, or exponential? Okay, when we're testing, what we're looking for is the R squared value. Okay, we will look at the R squared value to determine how well the data fit the regression model. That's what we're looking at, is our R squared. Okay, we're looking at our R squared value to determine how well it fits it. Got it? All right, so we're going to start off with our linear check. So I'm going to go stat, calc, and I'm going to test out the linear. Do we see linear for 1? What? That's a 4. Dang it. So we have 4, not a 1, Bob. Dang it, Gina. You see nothing. It's been a 4 all along. Okay, so we went stat, calc, but we're going to test out our linear. So I'm going to press 4, and I want it to calculate. 4. And I'm going to have it calculate. So I go down to calculate. And it's going to give me a value for my linear. So at linear, it says R squared is what? 0.921. So for our linear, I got a 0.921. Okay, that is pretty close to 1, but is it 1? No. Okay, we're going to repeat. This time we're going to check for the exponential because we know quadratic works. We're just going to go to exponential and see what exponential does. Okay, we're going to go to stat, calc, and we're going to check exponential. Remember, exponential you can get to just by pressing 0. If you want to arrow down to it, you can, but you can get to it just by pressing 0. Stat, calc. And then we're going to calculate. And what did it say? Yeah. So that tells me that for this, what? It's not looking like it's a good model at all. So that means that is exponential even possible? No. Never, ghostwriter. No. Not even possible. Okay. The reason why you get an error for that, remember we talked about in our notes, is that for this table, in order to be exponential, your 0 value has to be 1. And is our 0 value 1 on this table? No. What was our 0 value? 0. So that's why it's telling you there's no way that you are exponential, because exponential will never have a value of 0. Sure. You have your ID on? Yes. All right. So now we're going to test out quadratics. Oh no, I wonder if it's going to work. I'm going to quit. I'm going to try stat, calc, quadratic. And I'm going to hit enter. Oh my gosh. What does it say for the R squared for my quadratic? It's a 1. And guess what that means? What's the best model for my data? A quadratic. Yay. Ooh, we did it. That's how you do it on a calculator. How do you feel about verifying on the calculator? Okay, where are you stuck at? Why are you barely getting there?
Well, not getting on songs.
I don't.
I mean,
Which part?
I mean, you said the quiz and then what else?
We're looking at the R squared. That's it. That's it. That's all. You're looking at your R squared values. That's it. All right, 84s. If you don't understand, always come ask me after class or when we're done here, we can look at it together. But how do we feel right now? Doable? All right. Now we're going to talk about how to do it in Desmos. So on the other half of your notes, we're on to the Desmos side. Only these two parts. Yep. So on Desmos, we have, as usual, you're going to do what? Input the table, right? As usual, does that change? No, you can't do anything without a table. Okay. Last week we talked about our linear regression. In order to get a linear regression in our Desmos calculator, remember we had to type y1 tilde mx1 plus b, correct? Remember typing that? Yeah. All right. So now we're going to talk about how to get your quadratic regression and your exponential regression. Okay. To get your quadratic regression, you're typing y1 tilde ax1 squared plus bx1 plus c. Okay. Remember, to get the square, you're just pressing shift 6. So to get the square, you're pressing shift 6. And then remember to arrow over before you start typing again. Come in. Okay. And then our exponential regression model is going to be y1 tilde abx minus 1. And again, remember, to get it as a power, you're going to be pressing shift 6. I will give you a moment to write this down before we dive in and do it. Cool? All right. All right, here we go. I'm going to click on Desmos. I clicked on it. Don't click on Desmos. There it is. I'm going to add a table. And we're going to be using table 2 on our 1.1 E notes. So I'm typing in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 3, 9. 27. Oh, that's not a 27. 27, 81, and 243. Okay. We're going to test linear, quadratic, and exponential. Cool. So we're going to go through all 3 regression models just to see how it works. Before I do that, I'm going to adjust my window to try to see my points. Remember, you have a couple ways of adjusting. You can adjust by zooming in and out. So I can do that. Or I have the option of clicking on the tool and changing my max and min values. So my max my max X is 5. So I'm going to put 10. My max Y is 243. I'm going to put 250. I prefer to do it that way because I feel like I get a better accurate graph of what I'm looking for versus zooming in and out. It can be deceptive and it can look like I have a linear sometimes, or it can look more curved. But if I just adjust my maximums after zooming, it helps me see a better picture. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So we're going to test for linear. So I'm doing y1 tilde mx1 plus b. All right. My R squared value is pretty darn low. If something costs $1, are they going to take your 69 cents for it? Probably not. All right, so we're now going to test our quadratic. So I'm going to go down to box 3, y1 tilde ax1 shift 6 squared, arrow over, plus bx1 plus c. All right, shift 6. All right, our R squared value is a little higher here. It is, right? We're at 0.9527. So between linear and quadratic right now, what's our best model? The quadratic. Now we're going to do our exponential. So y1 tilde a, b, and we're going to do shift 6 to put x1. And what is the R squared value here? 1. The R squared value is 1. What does that mean? It's a perfect model, right? It's the exponential. For your R squared? Did you type it exactly like this?
How do you type in 2 1 because
Shift 6.
Oh.
That's why we wrote shift 6 in our notes. Okay. All right. That's it. That's with Desmos. Questions, comments, concerns? If you are stuck, I'll come around individually and help you. But that is all I have for you. Remember, again, we're focused on the what again value? R squared, rep. R squared. Don't look at R, look at R squared, okay? To determine how well the data fits the regression model. Got it? All right, time to work. You're gonna have your classwork for this, and that's it.